Hello and welcome to Ann Arbor, Michigan and Alumni Field for Game 2 of the Ann Arbor Regional in the 2019 NCAA Division I softball tournament. I'm Alex Drain, joined by Jeremy Parks. We just got done watching James Madison defeat DePaul by a score of 5-2, and now the home crowd, Michigan Wolverines, about to take the field against St. Francis of Pennsylvania here in this Friday mid-afternoon action. It's a little bit of a muggy, overcast day, but no rain in the forecast, and we should be good to go today.
Yeah, we are full cloud coverage. Drain, the lights are on here at Alumni. The wind, not much of a factor here, just a gentle breeze coming out in center field. But other than that, it's a perfect day for softball. We've got good weather, and we are ready to roll here with the first major postseason action for these Michigan Wolverines.
It's the first time that Ann Arbor has hosted a regional since 2016 after a 2-year drought in the wilderness. The NCAA tournament is back at Alumni Field. The players were so happy to see that on Sunday night, Selection Sunday. They videoed their own reactions. Everyone very excited. They are hungry to play here in front of the home crowd for the NCAA tournament action. Michigan enters this weekend the number 15 seed in the country, placed into this Ann Arbor Regional with St. Francis along with DePaul and James Madison. The stakes today: if Michigan defeats St. Francis, they will play tomorrow at noon against James Madison. It's a 4-team double elimination weekend tournament.
Yep, St. Francis coming into the regional at an even 500 on the season, 29-29. They were the 3 seed in the Northeast Conference tournament, but they made a little run, beat LIU Brooklyn in a best-of-3 series for the championship, and that bought their ticket here to Ann Arbor for the regional, and they are an unassuming team in a lot of ways. Hutch even said in her interview with us, with you, Drain, on East of the Rockies earlier this week, that she didn't have a lot of info on paper for St. Francis, but they would be ready all the same. And we are going to see what they have in store for the Wolverines here in this game.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting matchup between two teams with a lot of postseason experience. Michigan has not missed the tournament in a long, long time, and the Northeast Conference champion, St. Francis, they come in having made the tournament 3 consecutive years now. Their former coach was hired by NC State in the offseason, so they are under a first-year head coach, Jess O'Donnell, but she picked up where Jennifer Patrick Swift left off and brought the Red Flash back to the NCAA tournament today. So it's two teams that are not unnerved at all by postseason play, and two teams that were very victorious last weekend, both teams winning their postseason conference tournaments to get auto bids into this weekend.
St. Francis is an exceedingly small school compared to Michigan. They also have an exceedingly small roster compared to Michigan on this team, Drain. As we saw before the game, just 15 active players on the roster, so not a whole lot of room for pinch hitting, pinch running, but they've been able to get it done throughout the season with a squad much smaller than the rest of the country.
Yeah, the Red Flash enter this weekend a 29-29 record. It wasn't exactly a great season even in conference play. They were not expected to get back here, but it was an excellent weekend last season that beat the odds, got some upsets, and got in to the NCAA tournament for another season. They played a couple Big Ten teams in the non-conference. They saw Michigan State twice. They saw Purdue early in the season as well. Didn't have much success against those teams, but they were able to beat Penn State in a doubleheader, which they split with the Nittany Lions in early April. So they've had some experience playing some teams Michigan played, and I think it certainly will prepare them to take on another Big Ten opponent, the Big Ten champions, here today.
Yeah, they bring across a lot of runs. They've got really good presence at the plate. The offense has been clicking throughout the season. The only problem for St. Francis has been that in the circle, it's been extremely difficult to keep their opponents off the board. They come in with one of the highest ERAs across the team of any team in the NCAA tournament. So not a fantastic look in the circle, but they'll look to try and shut down this upstart Michigan offense that has really found its form over the last 4 or 5 weeks.
In the past 40 games, Michigan has been scoring almost 7 runs per game in their action, and we saw that last weekend, the Big Ten tournament, scratching 8 runs across against a pretty good Wisconsin team, managing to get the 3 runs they needed to win the title game against an excellent pitching Minnesota squad. So this is a Michigan team that's used to swinging the bats. They're swinging them hot. They're confident, and they're excited, getting ready to play this game against the Red Flash. Big Ten's already had some teams in action today in the NCAA tournament, as we are about in the middle of the day, as for a day where pretty much every team in the country that made the NCAA tournament is playing at least once today. Ohio State defeated North Carolina 1-0 in a very, very tight pitchers duel. Illinois dropped a game to Virginia Tech. And then Northwestern underway right now against Detroit Mercy, actually trailing 1-0 in the early stages of that one. Wisconsin will play later tonight, and then Michigan getting ready to start now, as well as Minnesota, who will get started close to 10 p.m.
It is a sellout crowd all weekend long here at Alumni. The fans have been trickling in throughout the last game between James Madison and DePaul. We are just about at capacity. Full in the grandstand out and right, with the Alumni band perched up in the top left corner of the grandstand, and pretty much full all the way through the seat backs here, wrapping around first base all the way around to the third base side.
Yeah, it's a great crowd as we just passed the 4:45 mark. Game should be starting within a minute or so as they're about to go through the starting lineups. We can do that right now. For Michigan, it's a very familiar feel if you are a Wolverines fan. It's Canfield, Peters, Blair, Subject, Uden, Nemitz, Alexander, Hogenrod, Rodriguez. That's been the exact same 9 for about 6 weeks or so now at this point, and they are all playing their usual positions in the field. The only thing that really is up in the air any given day is just who's going to be in the circle, and today it happens to be Megan Bobian. I can imagine we might see a little bit of both her and Storako to break them in, get them ready to go for tomorrow. That's what we saw James Madison do against DePaul, using both of their pitchers in the earlier game. St. Francis running out a lineup. Mackenzie Savin, followed by Cheyenne Mckee, and then her sister Sierra Mckee. Haley Norton, Cassidy Troxel, Michaela Bauer, Jordan Frank, Aylin, is that Bezjak?
Yeah, I believe so.
I'll have to look up the pronunciation guy. And then Taven Rousseau, 1 through 9 for St. Francis. Sierra Mckee and Haley Norton enter this game top 15 in the country in RBIs, both of them. So some good bats on this squad for the Red Flash.
And they will have a tall order in front of them with Megan Bobian in the circle, who pitched basically the entire weekend last weekend in Indiana to great aplomb. Was backed up in a little way by Alex Storako, but was the vast majority driven by Bobian through that tournament en route to their first Big Ten tournament title since 2015.
It is Bezak, by the way.
Bezak, okay.
Aylin Bezak. Yeah, Bobian was excellent last weekend. Carol Hutchins talked about that. She surrendered just 3 runs in over 15 innings pitched for an ERA about 1.3 in that weekend tournament, facing 3 excellent tournament teams. So Bobian was great, and that's what Michigan wants to see from her going forward in this weekend, because they are going to need Megan Bobian in order to wiggle their way past a very, very talented James Madison squad and DePaul, and even this St. Francis team. A lot of good hitters this weekend, and so Michigan's going to have their work cut out for them. There's no easy wins in the NCAA tournament, that's for sure.
And we are just a little delayed here as the coaches switching their lineup cards down at home plate, having their conference. We are slated for a 4:45 start, pushed back just slightly. We are subject to the TV restrictions, these games being broadcast by ESPN on their family of networks. So we will have some longer breaks between the half innings for commercial. But otherwise, just a regular day here with a packed house at Alumni.
Looking around the country at the games already concluded today, South Florida, a team Michigan played back in Tampa in the first weekend of the season, defeated South Carolina, who is a pretty good SEC team. An impressive win for the Bulls, and they get to move on to the next game, get a shot to advance deeper into this tournament. A couple other teams Michigan saw, obviously Ohio State, North Carolina. Michigan played both of those teams in the regular season, with Morgan Ray pitching a complete game. And then Oklahoma State over Tulsa in a 13-10 just wild affair.
A barn burner.
And that was the winner's game. That regional started last night. That was the winner-winner game. Tulsa could have been in a position to put themselves one win from the Super Regionals, but were unable to hang on to a couple leads in that game, allowing the Cowboys to come back and eventually pull it out 13-10.
Yeah, they had a grand slam in the 6th, did Oklahoma State, and that kind of propelled them to a bit of a rally late on in that game after falling behind 5-4 at one point to Tulsa. But the Golden Hurricane didn't sleep in that game. They put up a lot of runs on the board, and they'll have a chance tomorrow to get back into a rematch with Oklahoma State.
Houston defeated Texas A&M 3-1 in that All-Texas Regional down in Austin. Boise State badgered Stanford 9-1. Michigan saw Stanford back in Baton Rouge, but the Broncos, they are not a power conference team. They did not win their conference tournament. I thought there was a chance they might get left out.
They didn't have a conference tournament, I believe. The Mountain West, I don't believe, had a tournament. They were playing the last weekend of the regular season.
I have to look that up.
I remember Colorado State and Boise were in the conversation,
yeah. But Boise did not get the auto bid. So I was wondering if they might get left out there. RPI was good enough to get them in, and then a very impressive win, bludgeoning a Pac-12 opponent in Stanford. So some interesting results here in the early going of this weekend of action.
We are in the middle of the lineup introductions. We've also got your umpiring crew. It's my assumption based off the umpiring crew, I think each conference that is represented here has brought one umpire to the 4-person crew. So your home plate umpire is Tyler Barfass. Over at first base, the only familiar name for regular listeners in this umpiring crew is Krista Hanukkah. Over at second base, Mike Hernandez, and over at third, Katrina Kershaw.
Now Michigan wearing the home maize tops with the blue pants. St. Francis is wearing all black, so they come in as the red flash, but not much red on those uniforms, just the piping and then outlining the numbers on the back.
They do have a pretty good contingent, all things considered. These St. Francis fans coming out from Loretto, Pennsylvania, which is just a bit south and a hair to the west of dead center in Pennsylvania. So about a 5-hour drive here to Ann Arbor for the Red Flash. And they are on the big stage today. Their home stadium seats a couple hundred in Loretto, and they are sitting in front of a couple thousand here at Alumni tonight.
Yeah, and they are in a new regional because the last 2 years they were both in Tucson. In both 2017 and 2018, they were banished out to the Valley of the Sun to be with the Wildcats. This time they get a change of scenery coming out here to Ann Arbor.
Yeah, I would say they have about a 30 to 40 person contingent here down the first base side. Yep. Just offset to the right of the St. Francis dugout on the first base side.
James Madison brought a pretty solid share there in that first game. They've mostly all exited, as it's pretty much all Michigan and St. Francis fans. A couple people in purple dotting here and there, but
that guy in the purple wig out in right field is still out there, rocking the jorts and calf-high gym socks look. As Megan Bobian's in the circle to warm up here.
Oh, Natalia Rodriguez braided her hair.
She will open up for Michigan here in the top of the first. Just a quick reminder again on the St. Francis lineup. It'll be Savin, McKee, Norton, Troxel, Bauer, Frank, Beesjack, Russo, and Clarke.
Megan Bobian doing her warm-up pitches, wants to come out sharp in this one. Get a quick 1-2-3 inning and then let the bats go to work in the bottom half of the first. We've also got what appears to be a high school baseball game going on across from us over the way at Ray Fisher Stadium.
Michigan baseball is in an extremely important 2-game set today at Nebraska, as they are clinging for dear life to try and hold on for the regular season Big Ten tournament title. It would actually be, I saw last night on the baseball broadcast, the first time ever that a single Big Ten school's softball and baseball teams would both win the regular season conference championship. Michigan claiming the regular season title and the tournament title. Michigan baseball will start the tournament next week in Omaha. We'll have those calls for you on WCBN Sports as well with Austin Falco, Nick Hornberg, and Daniel Thompson.
Well, here we go. Getting ready to start first pitch. of this game. Well, Nick Hornberg just notified us that Eli Brooks and John Teskey of the basketball team are in the building as Mackenzie Savin digs in from the lefty side of the plate to face the lefty Beaubien. Beaubien's first pitch just a tad low, and we are underway. Game time start, 4:55 p.m. right on the nose here. Friday, May the 17th, temperature 66 degrees and cloudy. Winds at only 3 miles an hour. Not much of a factor as there's a called strike.
After missing just low on the first, coming right back with the fastball on the lower part of the zone.
1-1 count. Uden a couple paces in from the third base bag. That one floats a little high, 2-1.
For those who haven't really tuned in with this team throughout the year, Megan Beaubien was building on her standout Freshman of the Year campaign last year and has tried to work a lot more spin pitching into her game, but can always lean back on that brutally good fastball.
2-1 on its way to Sabin. That one is swung on and hit right to third. Uden gloves it, throw across the diamond, a nice bend. There's one out in the inning.
We saw a couple of tough hops in the infield in that first game with James Madison and DePaul, so the dirt is pretty dry in the infield right now.
It was resurfaced in between the two games. The grounds crew came out, did a full repainting of the lines as there's a first pitch called strike to Cheyenne Mckee. She is the first of the McKee sisters who are in the 2-3 spot in this St. Francis lineup, 1 year apart from Dubois, Pennsylvania. Cheyenne is the older one, a senior, Sierra a junior.
It's actually Dubois, Pennsylvania. We learned that when we stayed at a
fancy
Best Western there.
1-1 after that pitch goes high. McKee is an excellent hitter, .317 average, but a .439 on base with 11 home runs and 12 steals. Can get it done on the base paths. 1-1 coming, swung on and chopped, and it is just going to drop into center field. A bloop single there for Cheyenne Mckee, and she is aboard.
Michigan fans a little upset. The second base umpire, Mike Hernandez, had a little bit of a screen on Canfield trying to make the run over into shallow center. I don't think she would have made the play either way, but Hernandez didn't really make an effort to get out of the way.
Yeah, I'm not sure why he just stood there right in the middle of the play. You're instructed always to get out of the way of the fielders as an umpire.
So a slight rise in the crowd, but nothing else.
Sierra Mckee digs in, takes the pitch a little high. The McKee sisters, for those who are not watching on television, look very similar.
Yes.
To the point that you almost think they're twins. The pictures in this media guide are close to identical, both wearing
same
glasses in their photo. 1-0 is fouled back by Sierra Mckee, the starting right fielder today.
Both wearing their regular glasses under the helmet as well, a la Lou Allen for the Michigan fans.
One on its way, a little high. Cheyenne Mckee down there at first, as we said. Double-digit steals this year and is 12 for 14 in those attempts. So definitely has the ability to go. Katie Alexander very strong behind the plate as well.
Had some great putouts last weekend in the conference tournament.
2-1 on its way. Swung on and lined right to first base, and Subject just can't get back over to tag Cheyenne Mckee. It was a tailing liner well off the bat and then quickly died right into the glove of Alex Subject. But getting back well there was Mckee, and now 2 outs in the inning.
Yeah, that's one of those plays where even if that ball drops on the infield, you still have a 95% chance of making the out on the lead runner at second who had to hold up in the air, but no double up.
So 2 outs now. Haley Norton digs in. Norton is the best hitter by average in the St. Francis lineup, and she swings and pops it high into the sky, but it will get back on the third base side. The St. Francis Order in many ways resembles the Minnesota Order if you were following last weekend's Big Ten tournament, because they have 4 hitters over 320 to start the batting order, and then nobody over 300 the rest of the way, including some pretty low averages at the bottom. So it's
very
definitely
top-heavy.
Yeah, top-heavy for sure. 0-1 coming, swung on and fouled back, and Beaubien quickly ahead 0-2 on Haley Norton.
Yeah, Beaubien climbed the ladder with that one, and Norton just getting underneath it by a hair to spin it back into the backstop.
Norton's got great power, 16 home runs on the season. 10 doubles and 2 triples. That's a lot of home runs, given not that many other extra base hits there. 0-2 count on her. Beaubien sets the pitch just a tad high. Alexander threatens to throw down, and then, the runner's going down to second as Alexander collapsed on the ground, and the umpire did not call time there when Alexander fell down, and so it allows the runner to get down to second, but she looks hurt.
So Katie got up out of her crouch after the pitch came into the glove, threatened to throw down to second, and then it looked like maybe one of those tough ligament things that just kind of pop up when you move in just the wrong way. But
yeah,
she's back up on her feet now. She's working out her right leg.
She did a full pump fake, and as the arm extended past where you would normally release the ball is when she quickly collapsed onto the ground, and then the ball left her hand, and once McKee down at first saw the ball leave her hand, she scampered on down to second, and it wasn't till Cheyenne Mckee got down to second that the home plate umpire, Tyler Barfus, called time. And now the coaching staff in a long conversation with Katie Alexander. She's going to walk around for a few seconds. I think she's going to stay in the game. Michigan has Hannah Carson available if needed.
It's that warrior mentality right there. They are having her work out her right leg still. Coach Hutch with the medical staff just outside the box.
There's also no harm in taking her out and just letting her sit for a day and come back tomorrow stronger. Hannah Carson has proven herself to be very, very capable behind the plate, but it looks like Katie's going to test it at the very least.
Well, we'll see. One more strike away to get back to the dugout and then maybe reevaluate once they're down in there.
She's going to get a couple warm-up pitches from Beaubien.
Yeah, it looks like she's planting that weight on that right leg just fine back behind the plate, working it out a little bit. But
now she's going to talk to the trainer once again. She had something to say there, and now she's going to stay in the game, it appears. Heading over to the bench is Carol Hutchinson, the trainer.
She gets a glove tap from Uden, who heads back over to third.
So the count 1-2 on Haley Norton. Down to second is Cheyenne Mckee, so a runner in scoring position for the Red Flash. But Beaubien also 1 strike away from quickly getting out of it. She sets the pitch a little high again. Beaubien's gone to the rise ball now twice in a row to try to get the climb the ladder swing from Haley Norton.
And so off of that dropped ball on the attempted throw down and the injury, the first runner in scoring position here in the top of the first.
2-2 count. Swing and a miss. The off speed gets Haley Norton swinging. She's only struck it out 11 times this year in 191 at-bats, but Beaubien makes it number 12.
That's the first strikeout of the game for Megan Beaubien, number 204 on the season.
So the Michigan Bats will get ready to go to work as the first K is clipped up on the fencing right in front of us. It'll be Faith Canfield, Natalie Peters, and Lexi Blair. 1, 2, 3 to get going for the Wolverines in the bottom of the first. Michigan plays the home team in this game, but will not be the home team necessarily in every game this weekend, despite hosting all 3 or 4 games, however many they play.
Yeah, as we saw in Bloomington last weekend, despite being the number 1 overall seed in the championship game, they were opted to the away team dugout in the championship against Minnesota, so varying from game to game. Either way, they have the home field advantage, and that is an undeniable factor here.
Well, Michigan is 15-0 this year at Alumni Field, and they really weren't in a lot of super stressful situations. They had a pesky game with Penn State where they walked it off. Really the only super dangerous game they had at home all year was the dramatic come-from-behind win in the Sunday game against Indiana back in early April, where Mackenzie Nemitz doubled to the gap to score 2 and make it from Michigan down to their final strike to a walk-off one-run win over the Hoosiers. That was probably the most exciting win of the year for the Wolverines, and that's the kind of swagger this team's been playing with. They are very comfortable to play from behind. They've had some comeback wins, and they're just rolling 37-3 in their last 40 games, including a regular season and a Big Ten tournament title in a year where the Big Ten was very strong. This is a team that not a lot of other squads want to see in their sides of the bracket as we play in the NCAA softball tournament. Michigan, the 15 seed. A win this weekend would likely send them to UCLA in Los Angeles next weekend in the Super Regionals against the 2-seeded Bruins, unless a gigantic upset happened out there.
Team that Michigan has seen and beat.
Yep. That was really the turning point of the season. It was the first of this 40-game stretch, the one that altered the season from 6-8 to 43-11.
That massive 3-ranked win weekend for Michigan that, you're right, 37-3 since. Absolutely cruising.
So Faith Canfield gets ready to hit, and she is the epitome of cruising recently, just on a tear at the plate. Her average was once down in the 360s only like 3-4 weeks ago, and she has just been a monster the last number of weeks to get her average not just over 400, but all the way up to 418, and the on base sitting at nearly an even 500.
And in the circle for St. Francis is Cristina Clarke, who is the best pitcher on the team in terms of average innings pitched in ERA. As that first
that
pitch
is not Cristina Clarke. That is Mikayla Bauer.
Oh, well, they changed
it,
pitcher last minute. We had the printed lineup card given to us just a couple minutes before the game, and they must have made a last-second change.
Canfield swings, hits that one right to second, and then a quick throw across the diamond by Cheyenne Mckee. Yeah, Mikayla Bauer is the one in the circle. An interesting last-minute change.
So we'll get you the statistics here on Bauer in just a second. Bauer has seen significantly fewer innings than Clarke, just 122 2/3 on the season, a 6.33 ERA. Opponents are hitting .370 against her throughout this season.
There's a first pitch outside to Natalie Peters. Peters at a .358 average entering this game. Very strong senior campaign for the center fielder. She swings, hits that one. Diving stop there. Backhand flip across by Cheyenne Mckee to rob Natalie Peters as she went down on one knee on a backhand stab and then a flip across for 2 quick outs. Pretty hard hit balls.
Yeah, the nifty glove work. And we saw last week in the opening game of the tournament, Michigan made hard contact several times against Taylor Edwards of Illinois, but they were unable to string anything together and break through until Lexi Blair, who now steps to the plate, hit a walk-off game winner in the 8th.
Lexi steps up and takes off speed for a strike from Mikayla Bauer.
Lexi, after last weekend, is up to 424 on the season, 53 RBIs, and that glaring stat that she has only struck out 5 times.
And there's a pitch outside, 1-1. It had been a long time since she had struck out when she did last weekend.
Trying to produce a little 2-out action here in the bottom of the first.
She swings and lines that one right back up the middle for a base hit, and Lexi is aboard another bullet, and this time it gets down for a Michigan hit, and they have a 2-out base runner for Alex Subject.
All 3 of these leadoff hitters for Michigan have made good contact off of Bauer, 2 of them right to the gloves of the fielders, but that one, a bullet right dead back up the middle, bounced right over the second base bag and into center. As
Alex Subject, a senior first baseman, steps in, gets ready to hit. She swings and pops that one up high into shallow right. Coming on and making the play there is Sierra McKee. Michigan very eager to swing the bat early on. Get some good contact in a single, but no runs. One left. We go to the second in a 0-0 game between St. Francis and Michigan.
That was kind of a fun little out there as the McKee sisters playing second and right respectively. So Sierra calling off Cheyenne in shallow right, charging in to make the play. Again, they do look just about identical, but eager at bats for the Wolverines, hitting early in the count there in the bottom of the first, and one hit, but nothing else. St. Francis, a little information for those of you curious about this school that Michigan is playing. As we said earlier, they're from Loretto, Pennsylvania. Only 1,700 students in their entire university, but they do have that 15-person lineup here today. The red flash with the scariest mascot I think I've ever seen, Drain.
It's a disturbing mascot.
They posted a video to their Twitter yesterday of the mascot doing some kind of reenactment of an old Boston Red Sox game-winning home run over the Green Monster, but
yeah, it was supposed to be the Carlton Fisk home run. I don't know why they were reenacting that.
It is the mascot is a Franciscan friar with red robes and red hair, but the teeth are larger than the entire body of the mascot.
Yeah.
With just this big, scary smile. If you're curious, go on Google, type in St. Francis Red Flash, and you'll probably find that mascot there. Pretty creepy.
Quick clarification about the St. Francis lineup. It's exactly as we were given, except that Mikayla Bauer is not a designated player for the pitcher. She is the pitcher herself.
Ah. They didn't put that in the lineup the kind of apparent way, I guess, then.
Well, it wasn't apparent because they listed a pitcher that wasn't her.
Right. So.
So both teams get a hit, and both teams leave a runner in the bottom of the first. We'll see how it goes in the top of the second. This is the bottom of the order, which we mentioned, not quite as strong for St. Francis, and so these are the outs that Megan Bobian wants to cruise right through. Keep her pitch count down, as there is always the chance that she could end up playing either 2 games tomorrow or 2 games Sunday, or both. So a lot of potential action. So Cassidy Troxel will lead off. It'll be Troxel, Bauer, and Jordan Frank. 5, 6, 7 in the top of the second. Bobian's first pitch to Troxel is hit hard to right, but Blair is right there at the edge of the track. Good contact from Troxel, but not able to get enough on it, and it's a 1-pitch, 1 out.
Well, that last out of the Minnesota championship game last week, that we were right behind home plate in that vantage point where that ball took off on the same trajectory as that one, and we thought that game might have been a walk-off over.
Yeah, that ball was a little bit higher of an arc than that one that was just hit by Troxel. It's always tough to judge those kinds of things when it takes a high trajectory, whether it's just arcing to come down or if it's actually got the distance. There's a swing and a miss by Mikayla Bauer. It's the old pitcher-on-pitcher matchup as we get started with 1 out in the second. 0-1 count on that swing and a miss. Bauer's a decent hitter, .232 with 5 homers, a .311 on base. Michigan at this time does not have any pitchers who can hit with the exit of Tara Blanco last year. But St. Francis sporting one in the lineup here today. Notably, Northwestern in particular has multiple pitchers who can hit in the Big Ten. And now we got something going on in the dugout. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think it might be Katie Alexander again. Yep, here comes the training staff back out. Something wasn't right about that, and she jumped right up out of the crouch immediately and then called them over.
Nagging back at her.
And I think this might, I don't know, we'll see. We could see Hannah Carson down in the dugout has the full gear on. She just went down into the tunnel, but Alexander's going to stay in the game again, I believe. Hutchins and the trainer going back into the dugout. Not sure if there's a limit on how many visits you can get.
Well, they're clearly keeping a very close eye on it, and Katie's seemingly adamant that she wants to stay in this game. She's back into the crouch.
1-1 on Bauer. Bobie in the windup, the delivery, strike on the outside edge. 1-2 is a delayed strike call there from Tyler Barfus. Tahanika, Hernandez, and Kershaw, the umpires right to left in the infield with Barfus behind the plate. Bobie in ahead, 1-2 in the count. The windup, the pitch, swing and a miss. Climbing the ladder there, and Bauer is down on strikes.
Pin it up right in front of us. We got the K's going right in front of us here on the terrace.
That'll be number 2 for Bobien, both of the swinging variety, and that brings up Jordan Frank, who is the center fielder today. Frank, a .242 hitter. First pitch swung on an arced foul. Oh, right about one section over from us in the top row of the seating as it gets out of play.
Nice catch there by one of the Michigan fans right in front of the press box. Gobbled up well.
Count 0-1 on Frank. That one popped up. Is there room for Subject? Yes, there is, and she makes the play just into foul territory, right about the big block M past the first base bag. And a quick 1-2-3 inning for Megan Bobien, using only 23 pitches through 2 innings. And she sends the hitters back up there in the bottom of the second. We'll see if Michigan is a little more patient this time around after they needed just 8 pitches to have 4 hitters come up. They liked what they saw and hit the ball hard, just weren't able to put it in the right spots.
Just updating the scorecard here real quick with that end of the inning action. As the floodlights are on here at Alumni. It is still light outside clearly at 5 o'clock, but that cloud coverage is pretty much blanketed over Ann Arbor here.
Updating scores. Northwestern has now jumped out to a commanding 6-1 lead over Detroit Mercy in the Evanston Regional. BYU leads Arkansas 3-0. Texas Tech 3-0 over Louisiana Tech. Lipscomb, one of those interesting high RPI mid-major schools, up 2-1 on Arizona State. And Southeast Missouri State, another one of those types, up 1-0 early on against the Ragin' Cajuns. And Florida up 3-0 on Boston U. The Terriers did well to keep themselves in the game, but they weren't really having much going on offensively, and Florida finally cracked the code.
Well, the Wolverines teed up decently powerful hitting off of Bauer, with the exception of the pop-up from Subject to end the inning, but we'll see how she goes after them here in the bottom of the second.
It'll be Uden, Nemitz, Alexander, 5, 6, 7.
If Alexander comes out to hit.
That'll be very interesting to monitor.
That would be her back plant leg that has been nagging her for when she comes up to the plate. They could just try and maybe keep her in defensively and then pinch Hannah Carson. There's also a number of other options. Morgan Overitis, another one that comes to mind.
Well, Carol Hutchins was very insistent about Hannah Carson. When I asked her a question about the pinch hitting, I brought up Overitis and Allen, who had both pinch hit last week, and she mentioned Carson herself as a quality power option from the left side of the plate. Overitis also a lefty hitter, while Allen is the go-to on the right side. So Uden digs in there, and she takes the first pitch high from Mikayla Bauer. Uden's average all the way up to 271 now on this season, and a 382 on base. Always been good at drawing walks. And there's a called strike career high in homers for Uden, up to 7 after 3 last year. So a good job to hit the ball harder. Had a home run last weekend against Wisconsin and the walk-off against Penn State the last time Michigan was here. She swings and hits that one high, an arcing foul off to the side.
We just got a photo sent from one of our fellow broadcasters, Austin Falco and Nick Hornberg, out in right field there. I guess John Teskey, Michigan basketball big man, is out there in right field with the cowbell supporting the alumni band.
Count 1-2 on Uden. Bowers wind up the pitch, skips in there, landing just a tad in front of the plate and then bouncing in well on the catcher Rousseau. 2-2 count. This is the longest at bat of the game for the Wolverines, who were very eager in the first. 2-2, Uden hits that one to left. Medium depth, and right there is Haley Norton for 1 out.
Yeah, not a real hard swing there. Kind of checked through it and didn't go all the way towards the back shoulder with the bat on the follow-through, and just kind of left that one hanging up, looping over into left.
So 1 out for Mackenzie Nemitz. Nemitz, a .288 hitter. Stands in there looking to get the second hit of the day for the Wolverines. That one off speed, just a tad low. Bauer, her whip is almost 2, and the ERA at over 6. Certainly marketed as a hitter, Michigan can hit hard, but sometimes it takes the Wolverines an inning or two to feel an opponent out. Nemitz fouls that one off, 1-1. As always, the second and then third time through the order are the issues where they arise for pitchers a lot of times.
Nemitz, the surprise story of the season for Michigan, someone who played almost never in the first 3 years of her Michigan career and has stepped into an everyday starting role here in her senior campaign.
Swings and hits that one high into the gap in left center, and coming on to make a running grab is Jordan Frank. Michigan continues to put the ball in play and put it pretty hard hit on a screw or deep, but not deep enough yet, as we are going to have the pinch hitter for Katie Alexander. It is going to be Hannah Carson, the freshman catcher from Mount Pleasant, Michigan.
It looks like Katie down in the dugout has taken off the catcher's gear. So presumably Hannah Carson will be coming into the game in the top of the third to take over the duties behind the plate. We'll keep you updated on that, but Katie is now undressed from the pads.
First pitch, just a little low and outside. Carson's had a pretty good season in limited action. Her average and on base actually very similar to Katie Alexander's, and she's shown good power in her limited time. 3 doubles, a triple, and a home run this year. She swings, hits that one. It is going to get down, a single into center field. Another 2-out base runner for the Wolverines. Carson was a very highly touted recruit, top 50 in the country, and in all likelihood she will be a 3-year starter starting next year behind the plate.
Add another one onto the book there for just her 12th hit of the season, but only 43 at-bats, including that one.
So Haley Hogenrod gets ready to dig in with a runner on first and 2 outs in the inning. Hogenrod stands on the righty side of the plate. Takes that one down and in. Hogenrod's had a bumpy season offensively, always a steady presence in the outfield. This year she was moved to right after the departure of Aiden Falk. She was a left fielder primarily last year. She takes that one high and outside, a 2-0 count on her, but has struggled to click at the plate at times. 241 average and a 306 on base. Looking to get something going here as the catcher Rousseau comes out to talk to Bauer. They have to be careful here in a 2-0 count.
So far on the game, Bauer had done a good job of at least staying ahead in the early pitches. Michigan's been eager at the plate, but hasn't really fallen behind all that much.
That pitch, another ball, and the count quickly 3-0.
A walk would put Michigan's first runner in scoring position.
Hogenrod, in all likelihood, taking here, and she is. Strike on the outside edge. Looked like St. Francis was trying to hit that edge specifically. It looked like Rousseau sort of motioned out to that corner of the plate.
Yeah, Hogenrod took a step back in the box as the pitch was coming down, showing that she really was never going to swing.
3-1, another strike on the outside edge, and now the count runs full, 3-2.
That one fitting down nicely to find the corner, and so coming back from 3-0 to a full count. A nice job by Bauer.
See what she serves up Hogenrod here. The windup in the full count, swinging a grounder to short. This is going to be a tough play across the diamond. Safe at first, and Hogenrod beats it out for an infield single, deep in the hole. It was going to be a tough play all the way for Savin, and she made a good strong throw across the diamond, but just not quite in time.
Haley legging it out. Love to see it. Again, another example of a hard hit ball that gets deep in the hole and no play to be made.
So now 2 runners on and 2 outs in the inning, and Michigan is going to send Natalie Rodriguez to the plate. They're going to let her swing. Sometimes she gets pinch hit for in these situations. First pitch off speed, called strike on the inside part of the plate. Rodriguez has had a good year offensively, getting her average up about 50 points to 317. A lot of sacrifice hits as usual. Oh, 1 on its way. Rodriguez swings and smokes that one into the St. Francis dugout. Look out. So quickly behind 0-2 is Rodriguez, but she doesn't strike out a lot with the short, compact slapper swing, and she just taps that one. Frozen by the off-speed delivery there, but saw it well enough to extend the bat ever so slightly and just fight to live another day.
I'm still waiting for another one of those 2 strike counts where she switches up which side she goes from in the box.
0-2 on its way. That one outside and low.
Not to be had in this at bat, at least, is it looks like a small bit of rain might be coming through. There's a lot of ponchos being broken out in right field.
It doesn't look like anything's coming down, though, at least on the field. 1-2 on its way. She swings and loops that one. Just foul down the left field line. Carson and Hogenrod are off on contact.
It's like our friend Ryan over here to the left just showed me that the drizzle's coming in for just a minute or 2 here, and I guess a light drizzle will maybe reappear later on in the game as well.
Well, the cloud cover's been so constant today.
The real rain's not supposed to move in until around midnight tonight, I believe, when
Yep.
I looked at the forecast this morning, but it'll stop by about 7, 8 a.m., meaning that tomorrow's game should also be good to go.
1-2 to Rodriguez again is outside, 2-2. Good at bat from Nat Rod.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs on number 21 with 2 runners on base.
The pitch, she swings and lines that one right to the left fielder, Norton. Really well hit ball right on a rope, but right in the wrong spot, and that will end the threat. Michigan continues to hit it well. No runs so far. That'll put 3 hits on the day and 3 left as we head to the 3rd. Still no score between Michigan and St. Francis in the 2019 NCAA Division I softball tournament.
Again, the winner of this game will take on James Madison tomorrow. The loser will face DePaul in the consolation bottom half of this regional bracket. As Drain scouring the MGO blog Slack for information about the Michigan basketball coaching search. Any news on the horizon there, Drain?
Insider information.
Inside privileged knowledge. There have been no less than 30 candidates whose names I've heard thrown around for the opening here. As we mentioned, John Teske out in right field along with Eli Brooks, 2 Michigan basketball players who are coachless at the moment.
Well, Bonnie Tholes waited a long time for promotion. Maybe she can give an interview.
Could take over basketball.
Megan Beaubien back out there warming up. In the top of the third, she's been very sharp so far. Needed 23 pitches to get through 2 innings of work.
Hannah Carson has a much shorter stature than Katie Alexander, so doesn't get out of the crouch quite as well. Can't extend quite as vertical.
But that, again, is the norm. Katie Alexander being a very tall catcher.
Right, is kind of an outlier in that sense, but is proven extremely valuable over the years in terms of defensive play, in my opinion.
Yeah, certainly one of the better defensive catchers in the Big Ten. Did not get the nod this year as it went to Claire Nicholson, but tough to beat how good she has been. Threw out another runner today I watched in the UNC game. Nicholson at nearly 50% on the years in caught stealing for Ohio State. Michigan had several people named to the all-defensive team, including Beaubien herself, Subject, and Canfield. So it's 8-9-1 for the Red Flash in the top of the third. Bizak at the plate, and then Rousseau, and then back to the top with Savin. First pitch just off the plate inside. Alan Bizak, number 17, the first baseman. There's a swing and a miss. Rather small and compact stature, allowing for a quick swing, but late on that one.
A true freshman in the lineup. The only true freshman in the lineup, I should say.
Called strike, and the count quickly 1-2. Bizak from Uniontown, Pennsylvania, a nursing student and a freshman. Enters the weekend with a .344 on base, 2 homers on the year. Hasn't played a ton. 55 at-bats on the year for her. Swing and a miss. Climbing the ladder there and unable to catch up to the high heat from Megan Beaubien. That's strikeout number 3.
Chalk another one up here on the fence in front of us. There we go.
So that'll bring up Rousseau, the catcher. There's a pitch a little low. Crowd wasn't sure about that call from Tyler Barfus. We should note that this is a very veteran St. Francis team with either 4 or 5 seniors, depending on the ambiguity surrounding one of the McKee sisters. There's a high fly ball to right, but room for Hoganrod. She's under it and 2 outs. The printed media package says that Sierra McKee is a junior, but the stat broadcast says she's a senior, so I'm not really sure about that. Either way,
there are no other juniors unless she is one. There are no other juniors in this lineup.
Either way, a good portion of this lineup, 5 of the 9 hitters have been to 3 straight regionals. A storied senior class for this softball program. 2 outs very quickly, and there's a bouncer right to third. Maddie's got it. Throw across the diamond, and another 1-2-3 innings for Megan Beaubien, just cruising 30. And another 1-2-3 innings. She's sat down 8 straight as we go to the bottom of the third. Still scoreless. Michigan looking to finally convert that hard contact into some runs against St. Francis. Looking back at the national scoreboard, Arizona State has surged back in front of Lipscomb 3-2, as has the Ragin' Cajuns over Southeast Missouri State 2-1. BYU still leading Arkansas 5-0 now. Florida State up 6-0 on Bethune-Cookman. No score through 2 between Texas and Sam Houston State. And Northwestern now a commanding 8-1 lead over Detroit Mercy. Alumni band playing Don't Stop Believin' here as we head to the bottom of the third. The grounds crew out raking the dirt in between the top and bottom of the third.
Get a peek in here at Michigan baseball right now. Looks like a 1-0 game in favor of Nebraska in the top of the fourth. That's now at the end of the fourth, actually, as that score just updated. Still 1-0 in a game that, again, Michigan really needs to win. They're clinging to dear life by, I believe, a half game after last night's results at the top of the Big Ten regular season standings. They will play again tonight, I believe, at 9 o'clock as well.
Yes. Yeah, 8 Central. Mikayla Bauer back out there for the Red Flash. She's been good so far, limiting the damage. 3 hits, but she stranded all of them as Michigan has hit the ball hard but unable to consistently convert. But it'll be back to the top of the order, and as we mentioned, this is now the second time through the Michigan lineup. It'll be Canfield, Peters, and Blair. They were combined 1 for 3 in the top of the first. Canfield grounded out to second her first time up. She shows bunt, pulls it back, and takes a pitch a little high. We spoke to Faith Canfield during the week in our interviews.
Was about to say the same thing. Great minds.
Senior leader for this team. At the beginning of the season, she said the one goal she had was to win a national championship, as that one is grounded foul. She also talked about the desire to hit the ball harder, and her 8 home runs is, I believe, a career high. Always been right around that 6, 7, 8 home run at Michigan. A 3-year starter. Was asked to fill in for Sierra Romero in her sophomore year in 2017 and has done a great job consistently. She takes a strike on the outside edge, 1-2.
As you said, has been great at the plate and also defensively, getting that conference all-defensive team nod.
A multi-time All-American. 1-2 on its way. Swings and lines that one into the gap in left center. She's headed for 2, and she will be in there standing up with a leadoff double for Faith. Another rope.
Yep, the last one that she hit was just a little unlucky and couldn't find the hole. That one just skating by the extended glove of Sabin at short and out into left center. The first extra base hit of the game for either side. And the first time that Michigan has gotten a base runner on with less than 2 out.
And that'll bring up Natalie Peters. Peters smoked a ball to second. That was a beautiful backhand stab by Cheyenne Mckee to save a single. She'll look to find a hole here. Takes it for a ball. Canfield down there at second. Runner in scoring position. Michigan looking to finally break the ice and take the lead here in the bottom of the third.
Peters so far on the season, 31 RBIs.
1-0 coming, a strike. These delayed calls by Tyler Barfus.
Takes his time, makes sure he's got the call right. Can't complain about that.
One on its way from Bauer. Peters takes it low, just off the plate outside and down. 2-1, Mikayla Bauer. 4 hits surrendered now through 2+, but the first extra base hit, and now a real chance for Michigan to get on the board. 2-1 on its way. Peters swings and hits that one off the glove of the pitcher, Bauer, and beating it out at first is Natalie Peters. An infield single, and Michigan has runners on the corners and nobody out in the bottom of the third for Lexi Blair.
That was a tough play. Again, just a hard chopping comebacker to the circle, and getting some glove to it was Bauer, but couldn't secure it, and squirting over very slowly over towards second, where McKee had to try and make a quick transfer in the glove and over to first, and wound up just holding on to the ball with no play to be made. And now a prime opportunity to break a tie 0-0.
Good reflexes there from Mikayla Bauer to get a piece of it, but it might not have been helpful. It's tough to see where exactly the trajectory was as it ricocheted off her glove into a position that McKee was not, and she had to shuffle over there, and with the speed of Peters down the line, that ricochet alone was enough to get her aboard. So runners on the corners, nobody out. Michigan looking to do some damage here, and it's Lexi Blair who singled solidly back up the middle her first time up.
Nobody better.
Leads the team in RBI, and she can add to that total here. There was a meeting in the circle with Jess O'Donnell and Mikayla Bauer, and now Bauer will stand on the rubber, get ready to face Lexi. Michigan now 5 hits, and that one way high on Blair.
Yeah, we'll see how much Bauer wants to toe the line here with Blair. Obviously, putting her aboard with a walk would load them up. And that's going to be a very short walk out to the circle from, from Barfess.
Yeah, the catcher, Rousseau, went out there, and she basically just ran a sprint. By the time she got down there, Barfess was like, where are you going?
They just had a meeting in the circle, so trying to limit that.
1-0 to Blair, called strike on the inside edge. Blair was stranded on first after a 2-out single back in the first. 1-1 on its way to Lexi. Swings and scalds that one down the first base side, but foul.
Doing a little jump skip out of the way is Bonnie Thole over in the first base coach's box.
The one thing every Michigan player says about Lexi Blair is the way she carries herself, her approach at the plate, and her mentality. Wisdom beyond the years of the superstar freshman. 1-2 on its way. She swings and lines that one. Foul ball just down the left field line. The crowd started to roar, but they're going to say it was just foul. And I think that is the right call.
Yeah, you could see just a sliver of green grass between where that ball landed in the chalk line. So right on top of that one over at third base was Katrina Kershaw.
Yeah, she was all over it. And they'll send everybody back and do the 1-2 again. As we mentioned, Lexi Blair really never strikes out. I would expect you to get the bat on this one. Swings and puts it foul again. Blair's strikeout rate, 2.81%. 5 in 178 at-bats.
I think that's good. That's a level that I don't think I've seen from really anybody in softball in the years that I've covered.
It's pretty impressive. One and two the count on Blair. Bauer sets, she'll do it again. The pitch, swing and a tapper to second, and they're just gonna go to first with the out, but Lexi gets it done. Faith comes on home, Peters down to second, and an RBI ground out for Lexi Blair. Michigan on the board, 1-0.
Doesn't have to be pretty, just has to get done.
And that's where contact hitting comes into play. That out is always better than a strikeout or a pop out. That'll bring up Alex Subject. She was up and free swinging her first time. See what she'll do here with Peters on second, another runner in scoring position. Michigan 5 hits and now 1 run on those 5 hits. We know Subject has the power. 9 homers on the year. She's been at 9 homers for a while. Swings, hits that one, and golfs it down the line foul. 1-1. One on its way to Subject. Swings and taps it. Foul off herself, and now the count 1-2.
Still a good scoring opportunity to tack on here with Peters standing on second and just 1 down. Subject was really one of the only hitters in that first time through the lineup to not make really good solid contact off of Bauer.
1-2 on its way, swing and a foul back. Continuing to battle. Bauer really has not gotten many swings and misses. I'm not sure if there's been a single one all game, to be honest. Everything's been contact. The 1-2 fouled back. A long inning for Mikayla Bauer. The 1-2 again, swinging a high fly ball into left field. Is there room for the left fielder? Oh, she lost it in foul territory. That is not a fair ball, though, so the runners will have to go back.
Those floodlights are kind of angled on the far end over towards her eye line. Possible that Norton maybe lost it in the lights or just lost it for the sake of losing it and dropped a couple feet over to the lucky side of the foul line for her.
Yeah, she had room for it, but overran it. And then watch that one drop in. Should be an error. At least I would mark it as one. The old dropped foul. 1-2 outside. Now the count 2-2. The 2-2, oh boy, swing and a miss in the dirt. And
not a pretty one.
Yeah, way out in front, fishing after the
first strikeout of the game for Bauer, as the tag is applied before Subject is able to leave the box.
Now Uden gets ready to dig in. She hit a pretty solid ball out to left field in the bottom of the second, and she'll get her shot to try and bring Peters on in. Oh, no she won't. Hit her in the elbow, and Michigan now a runner on board. Peters tried to get down to third, but they're going to have to tell her to go back.
Yep, not allowed to advance on that hit by pitch.
So 2 runners on and 2 outs, same situation as the second inning. Uden's had quite a few hit by pitches this season, not as many as Peters, but when I was tallying it up the other day, it was quite a bit. First pitch down and in on Mackenzie Nemitz, who also hit a ball pretty solidly out into left center, but couldn't get down. Yeah, that is now number 7 on the season for Uden in the hit by pitch category. 1-0 to Nemitz, called strike.
Did just get one drop of water that found its way underneath the overhang here on our outdoor terrace.
1-1 count on Mac Nemitz. Just low, 2-1.
Hard take there from Mackenzie Nemitz and a well-placed pitch from Bauer that was held there for an extra beat by Rousseau. No call.
Two-one on its way to Nemitz. Swings and lines that one off the glove of the first baseman. That's a fair ball down the right field line. One run will score. Rounding third and stopping there is Uden, but it is an RBI double from Mac Nemitz.
She put on the motor.
Yeah.
Bonnie Thole had the two up from the second that she was looking down the line and took that big banana swing around first and sliding into second. No throw, but still getting the pants dirty for that good look.
And now it's 2-0 Michigan with 2 runners in scoring position for Hannah Carson.
No pinch runner for Mackenzie Nemitz, as she will stay in on second.
No real reason to small ball it right now. Carson with a single back in the second. It was solid contact into shallow center. We'll see what she can do here. 12 for 43 now on the season. She swings and hits that one right to second. Tough hop for the second baseman. 1 run will score. Nemitz rounding third. She will score. And Michigan 4-0 over St. Francis.
Another tough play off of the glove, and
yeah, that's a tough hop.
Nemitz again really enjoying the slide. No play coming to home, but she still slides in and grabs that hand back around the backside of home plate, and 2 more come across.
It'll go down as an E4, but that is not an easy play. Huge hop up off that very hard and brittle dirt. Like the old-fashioned moonballs in the concrete surfaces on the AstroTurf parks. So runner on first for Haley Hogenrod. Michigan's now put 4 across in this bottom of the third. And that, that'll go down as an out technically for Carson, 1 for 2. But that was another really hard hit ball. Michigan's just been smoking it all inning long. And now the Go Blue chants have started up. And Haley hits that one foul down the left field line. Michigan has now sent 8 hitters to the plate. Here in this bottom of the third. 1-1 count on Hogenrod. 4 runs on 6 hits for Michigan. The pitch to Haley down and away.
Well, it felt like it was just a matter of time until they started to really find the holes on Bauer, and it's exactly what has happened here with a 4 spot so far in the third. But they will continue to roll with Bauer, will St. Francis.
And Hogenrod lines it into the gap in right center, but stopping there immediately is Carson. Does a really nice job to field that ball by the center fielder Jordan Frank. Another hit, 7 on the day for Michigan. That's 2 for 2 for Haley.
And again, just another ball that is smoked back up through the gap.
And that'll bring up Natalia Rodriguez. She's going to get another chance to swing the bat with 2 runners on and 2 outs in the bottom of the third. First pitch on its way, she shows bunt. Oh, just goes foul. That was a really good decision. Third baseman was not nearly as in as normal when Rodriguez steps up.
Yep, tried to drag that one right down the third base line, and it had the backspin to pull it back, but just landing on the wrong side of the chalk. See if they try it again.
0-1 inside.
The corner infield is still not shaded in very close after that bunt attempt.
No. I mean, it is hard to come all the way in when the balls have been hit as hard as they have been in this inning. And Rodriguez hit one on a line her last time up, too. 1-1 is down and in. And with the 1 homer she hit against Washington, she can't hit one out if it's on the line. The 2-1 on its way. High. 3-1. Looked just about the letters, but not getting the call there.
Another ball would load the bases here with 2 outs. Carson on second, Hoganrod on first, 4-0, as Bauer will check her wristband.
3-1 on its way. Strike on the outside edge.
Yeah, get me over fastball there. Rodriguez probably wasn't really thinking much about swinging on that one.
The 3-2, swing and a chopper to short. Going to have to be a quick play across the diamond, and it is made by Savin. But Michigan sends 9 hitters to the plate, and they scratch across 4 runs in the third. And we head to the fourth. Our score, Michigan 4, St. Francis 0.
You're listening to Michigan softball coverage on WCBN Sports and the Michigan Student Softball Radio Network. Jeremy Parks and Alex Drain.
Well, interesting thing, Michigan has played St. Francis before, but not since 1983. April 29th, 1983, the only matchup in this rivalry history. That was a 1-0 win here.
Nope, not a chance there.
This is the 100th all-time game for Michigan in a regional. They are 82-17 all-time in the regional round of the NCAA tournament, having advanced to the Supers 18 times in program history. And this is now Michigan's 27th NCAA tournament appearance all time and 25th consecutively. The 21st time Michigan will host a regional, but just the 4th time since 2011, as the sport has constantly gotten more and more competitive.
And more national coverage again.
Yep.
Every single one of these games picked up by the ESPN family of networks, as will hold true for the Supers and the Women's College World Series in 2 weeks in Oklahoma City. Again, if Michigan comes out of this regional, they will likely head to Los Angeles to play UCLA
next weekend
in a best-of-3 set.
Well, other scores around the country as we get ready to go in the top of the 4th. Northwestern could do well to give some mercy to Detroit Mercy. That game now 15-1 in the 4th. However, that is the first all-time appearance in the NCAA tournament for Detroit Mercy, so shout out to them for winning the Horizon League title.
And as always, you can feel free to interact with us through our YouTube live chat feature. If you're tuning in on youtube.com/WCBN Sports, feel free to let us know where you're tuning in from today. We always like to hear the now global reach of these softball broadcasts. We had, I think, Australia last week. We've had some European shout-outs. And if you're just here at home in the mitten, let us know where you're tuning in from.
So Megan Bobian back out there to start the 4th inning, and she delivers a strike. That one floats high. It's 2-3-4, the teeth of the order. Cheyenne Mckee, Sierra Mckee, and Norton.
Cheyenne Mckee with the only hit for St. Francis so far. That was a hard single back up the middle in the 1st inning.
1-1 swing and a miss. Looking for home run number 12 with that swing.
She got on to first and then advanced to second on that awkward Katie Alexander play that eventually led to Alexander leaving the game today for Hannah Carson to come in.
1-2 on its way. Swing and a miss. Got her with the off-speed pitch. The old goofy swing. Way off kilter, and that is now strikeout number 4 for Megan. All of them swinging thus far.
And now on the season up to 207 with these 4 strikeouts on the game.
That one down in the dirt to Sierra Mckee.
Beaubien has been very comfortable so far, just 35 pitches, including the last one.
That's what Michigan wants to see, to preserve her pitches for the next 2 days of the weekend, as there's another swing and a miss, this time by Sierra Mckee to make it 1-1.
And you did bring up the possibility as well of maybe a split appearance today between Megan Beaubien and Alex Storako. It would be probably after this inning if you're looking to go halvesies.
That pitch a little high. 2-1.
And as we said, James Madison did the same today, where they went 4-3 with their 2 starting pitchers in the rotation. Michigan will see at least one of them tomorrow if they're able to hold on to this 4-0 lead.
That one floats high, 3-1 now. Beaubien in her first 3-ball count of the day, swinging a high pop-up into shallow center field. Backing up and making the play easily is Natalia Rodriguez, and quickly 2 down in the inning.
Yeah, that's still a tough play to track that looper. Can't remember if it was the Minnesota or the Wisconsin game last week, where it seemed like 80% of the outs in that game were on looping, hanging balls that just kind of towed that line between the dirt and the outfield grass. Another one there.
Kaylee Norton swings and lines it right back up the middle. Look out. A rocket right up the gut. And St. Francis's best hitter by average reaches for the first time today with a 2-out single. Well, the loopers is often what happens when you play teams with a lot of power like St. Francis and like Minnesota, where you get the hitters off balance, and so they put it in the air, but they've got enough power that it leaves the infield on those tailing flies.
So just the second hit of the game for the Red Flash. We'll see how aggressive they get on the base paths here.
And it'll bring up Cassidy Troxel, pitch down in the dirt, like it might have slipped out of Beaubien's hand.
Norton on the season is just 2 for 3 with stolen bases, so not a big base stealing threat.
The 1-0 on its way. That one lined right at us, but off the screen. No screen there. That might have gone right into our hands. Perfect trajectory off the bat. Canfield retrieves it in foul ground and throws it back into Beaubien. Just past the 40-pitch mark for Megan, who continues to cruise along in very few long at-bats. One on its way, down and outside. Hannah Carson down there behind home plate's done well so far, hasn't been tested much.
Yeah, 1 or 2 that have kind of hovered a bit low, but nothing that she really has needed to get down and smother. And nothing that has really brought her up out of her stance to get that glove extended up high.
2-1 on its way, swing and a line shot to right field coming on Hoganrod in an easy play. And 1 single, 1 left, and our score as we go to the bottom of the 4th, Michigan 4, St. Francis 0.
You're listening to Michigan softball coverage on WCBN Sports and the Michigan Student Softball Radio Network. Maybe a sign that St. Francis seeing something the third time through that their time, or the second time through that they're timing up a little bit better.
Yeah.
That last one had some potential to it. It just went a little too far out towards the outfield, but it was one that looked like it could have dropped for a single. Good contact for Troxel. You disagree?
I mean, there's been some solid lines all game long, but only one ball to the track all day, so I think it's been pretty comfortable so far for Beaubien as a whole. The storyline with this St. Francis team is the experience of the hitters and the youth of the pitchers. Mikayla Bauer pitching here today, a senior, the only senior pitcher on the roster. Tina Clarke, who was supposed to start and actually has now moved into the circle to warm up, is a freshman, as well as another freshman pitcher on the roster, Lauren Bertig, who we may see this weekend. They had some really good senior pitchers last year, but they departed through graduation, and that's set the team back a little bit, but the hitters have carried them to this NCAA tournament berth.
Looking for notable alumni from St. Francis, just for fun. No real names that are that recognizable on here. There is a man named Charles Schwab, but it's not the Charles Schwab of Charles Schwab fame.
Tragic.
That's about it.
St. Francis 61st in batting average entering this weekend. Michigan, for reference, 17th nationally. As we will get to see what Cristina, or Tina Clarke, I guess, this printed roster, Tina, whereas the stat broadcast calls her Cristina. She's a freshman, 4.64 ERA, 173 innings, but a whip of over 1.5. 14 wins to 10 losses, has been the primary pitcher for the Red Flash.
We were asked to give a shout out to the alumni band. So a big shout out to the alumni band up in the right field grandstand. Always a treat to have them towards the end of the season here. Sounding good as always. Looks like we've got just a couple more seconds waiting for the TV timeout to conclude.
It'll be back to the top of the order, second straight inning and third of the day, where 1-2-3 will lead off for the Wolverines. Canfield, Peters, Blair, they got it cooking last inning. Peters singled after Canfield had led off with a double, and then Lexi Blair got the RBI ground out. There's a called strike to Canfield. We're being told that apparently there is a number 4 jersey hanging in the dugout of St. Francis. There is no number 4 listed on the roster, so might have to look into what's going on with that. Perhaps a symbolic thing, as there's a pitch outside.
It may connect a few pieces to a puzzle. I know they had a hashtag that I saw on their Twitter account that
oh, here it is.
Related choose for how you want to live or something like that.
I'll read this after the at-bat is over. 1-1 is high to Canfield, 2-1.
Four runs on 7 hits so far for Michigan. St. Francis has the one error in the field that allowed 2 runs to score back in the last inning in the third.
There's a pitch low, and now 3-1.
That one trying to rein in that fastball. Not a pitch that Clarke has been able to lean on so far here in the at-bat. Has missed with 2 of them.
3-1 on its way. Canfield pops it up sky high. There could be room, and it's going to drop in fair territory. It's going to roll back to the backstop, and Canfield will get down to second. But they're saying it's a foul ball. That dropped in fair territory.
That's a fair ball.
That was a fair ball. That dropped in front of home plate.
I don't think that's an infield fly rule or anything.
No, there's no one on base.
Yeah.
That was a fair ball.
Just not sure what the reasoning behind that would be.
Well, anyway, it'll do the 3-2 again. She swings and lines that one to right. Hanging up long enough, though, for the right fielder, McKee, to haul it in.
A visible drizzle now coming down here on Alumni. A few folks headed for cover under the stands. So you can go ahead with that piece then, Drain.
Yeah, so a player by the name of Mikayla Foch, Foch perhaps, had signed her national letter of intent to play at St. Francis before being killed in an ATV accident during her senior year of high school. She would have been a senior on this year's team and actually played travel ball with the McKee sisters growing up.
So a nice nod to the
commemorative.
Yep. So that would explain it.
A 1 to Peters. Inside, 1-1. One on its way to Peters. She swings and lines that one to left into foul ground, and it'll drop just shy of the fence down there.
Yeah, the rain picking up and becoming a bit more solid here as we progress through the bottom of the fourth.
Count 1 and 2 on Natalie Peters. 1 out and nobody on in the bottom half of the fourth inning. One-two, swings and pokes it to short. Gonna have to be a quick play, but it's made well by Bauer, who, that is the pitcher. She has slid, the former pitcher rather, has slid back to shortstop. And Savin has moved to DP, I guess. And Clarke to pitcher, the changes here in this inning. So 2 outs, first time, or actually second time today that they got in the first 2 outs in the inning as Lexi stands in. She takes that one a little high as you can hear the rain starting to fall. 4-0 Michigan over St. Francis here in NCAA tournament regional play. Pitch to Blair a little low. 2-0. Lexi a single and then an RBI ground out to second. Two-0 on its way. She swings and clubs that one. It's going to be caught on a diving play by Jordan Frank.
Wow. It's one of the better defensive plays I've seen this season as she slides in to make that catch in shallow center. Kind of caught it right off the palm of the glove and kept it in there.
She's able to secure a 1-2-3 inning for Tina Clarke here in the bottom of the fourth. We head to the fifth. Michigan 4, St. Francis 0.
You're listening to Michigan softball coverage on WCBN Sports and the Michigan Student Softball Radio Network.
And it is really raining hard.
Yeah, more fans leaving the stands now as the rain picking up. It looks like a small cell that should only last about 20 minutes.
Michigan, no stranger to playing in the rain after last weekend and then the weekend before that back in Maryland.
Becoming somewhat of a trope here. Minnesota was always seen as the team that comes out in the rain. Michigan taking the Golden Gophers out. Despite a valiant comeback effort after the short rain delay last weekend. Michigan led 3-0. Minnesota came back and scored 2 to make it an interesting game down to the last out. Again, taking home their first Big Ten tournament trophy since 2015 and winning for the first time against the Gophers since 2014, I believe it was, and it was their first meeting at all since 2016 when Minnesota won in 10 innings in the Big Ten tournament championship in Happy Valley.
Well, looking at more scores across the country, Florida State still leads Bethune-Cookman 6-0. Northwestern up 15-1 on Detroit Mercy in the top of the fifth, about to close that one out. BYU still leads Arkansas, but it's a bit closer, 5-3 in the bottom of the sixth. Tight game between Southeast Missouri State and Louisiana, 2-2 in that one. And Texas has finally taken a 1-0 lead on Sam Houston State in the bottom of the fifth of the Austin Regional. LSU tied early on with Monmouth in the Baton Rouge Regional. And Louisiana Tech and Texas Tech tied at 0 as well.
Megan Beaubien will come back out to the circle for the Wolverines here in the top of the 5th inning, has only 44 total pitches so far through 4 complete innings. And that is exactly where you want to be in terms of managing that arm for the weekend. A 10-pitch inning is kind of the picturesque inning for any pitcher, and averaging 11, not a hair too shabby.
Yeah, just surrendered 2 hits, 4 strikeouts, cruising along. She notched her first scoreless outing in some time against Illinois last weekend in the Big Ten tournament, but that was a relief appearance. Could potentially have her first shutout if she went the full distance here in this one. There's a swing and a miss by Cristina Clarke, I believe. Or is that still Bauer? No, it is still Bauer.
Yep, Bauer.
Yeah, the stat broadcast didn't update there for a second. 0-1 on Bauer. Bauer shifted over to shortstop after Clarke came in for her. 0-1. Another swing and a miss on a pitch above her head.
Yep. Big high cut.
And very quickly, 0-2. Subject, 1 step in from the bag at first. Uden, 2 steps behind the bag at third. Rodriguez and Canfield straight up. 0-2 on its way. Bauer that time able to lay off as Megan went back to the rise ball. One, 2 on its way. Swing and a miss. Strikeout number 5.
Megan Beaubien cruising right now. Just feeling it. No real need to split the innings drain.
No, not right now. I mean, if you were saying you're going to split the innings, you would expect her to probably throw 50, 60 pitches before the split. She's not even at 50 yet. 1 out, Jordan Frank at the plate. Takes a pitch high. Frank robbing Lexi Blair with that diving play in the bottom of the 4th. This one will be pitch 50 exactly for Beaubien. One out, swing and a miss. A lot of these red flash hitters just have had trouble catching up with the velocity of Beaubien. Mixing all of her pitches well. 1-1, that one high.
Frank with that diving web gem play in center field to end the last inning. Trying to get it done at the plate as well.
2-1 on its way, called strike on the inside edge.
Very delayed call again.
Looks like Mr. Purplewig has decided to exit the stadium out in
We'll
right
be back
field.
tomorrow.
Yeah, due to the rain.
Again, the winner of this one will see James Madison at noon tomorrow here.
2-2, swinging a high fly ball to right. Backing up is Hoganrod, but she has room in front of the fence.
Just about a step and a half in front of the wall out on the warning track, and Frank got a real good piece of that ball, but just stuck up there a little too long.
Yeah, hardest hit ball we've seen all day, but the rise ball is still up there in the zone, and the hitter's having trouble hitting them on a line. That'll bring up the number 8 hitter, Bezak, unless this is a pinch hitter. There was a quick chatter. Yeah, it is a pinch hitter. Number 1, Brittany Crawford. Crawford is a sophomore, and she swings, fouls that one right back. Sophomore outfielder from Cannonsburg, Pennsylvania.
Reminds me of Cannonsburg, Michigan. Ski resort of the Mitten, the lower Mitten. It's not really a ski resort. It's kind of a hill with some fake snow.
0-1 to Crawford. High.
The rain is now at the heaviest it has been throughout this game.
Field, though, still isn't all that wet.
It's light but steady.
Yeah. 1-1 to Crawford, fouled back quickly, 1-2.
Looking out to the Ann Arbor skyline that you see out through center field here at Alumni, it's kind of a misty look out towards Ray Fisher and beyond.
As the rain comes very hard off that metal roof behind us. Makes a very loud sound in the background. 1-2 on its way, swing and a miss. Number 6.
6 on the game. A fistful and 1.
And a 1-2-3 inning for Megan Bobian. No hits, no left. Michigan 4-0 lead over St. Francis. 7 runs on 4 hits for the Wolverines. No runs on 2 hits for the Red Flash. As we head to the bottom of the 5th in the Ann Arbor Regional.
As we have a standing ovation for our military veterans at the game today.
More fans headed for the concourse.
Instead of an individual veteran of the game, we get all of the vets in the house today to stand.
The rain has brought the temperature down a fair bit to 62 degrees.
Yeah, the wind has started to come in just a little bit more as well, a cool breeze. Again, this rain cell is not supposed to last very long.
They've got the grounds crew out there now getting ready to rake.
Should be dissipating away, and then we will see some rain overnight into the early morning tomorrow. So the winner of this game will see James Madison at noon. The loser will see DePaul at 2:30. And then the loser of the James Madison and presumably Michigan game will see the winner of the DePaul and presumably St. Francis game at 5 o'clock. So if Michigan is able to hold on to this lead in advance and then beat James Madison tomorrow, they would not have to play again tomorrow.
Yep.
They would see each other on Sunday, where it would be a single elimination for James Madison, a double elimination for Michigan. That game is a flex time schedule. It'll either begin at noon or 2 o'clock, and then the following game will take place, if necessary, at either 2:30 or 4:30, depending on the timing.
The timing of those games could be very interesting, depending on
what the rain looks like here on Sunday. Thunderstorms are in the forecast. So we will keep an eye on the weather throughout the weekend, but again, the weather for tomorrow, the rain should be dissipating in the early morning, so we may have a slightly wet field at noon, but there shouldn't be any standing rain or any falling rain by game time. And we will definitely have that game for you here on WCBN Sports, either at noon or 2:30, whichever comes first. James Madison, a team that, Drain, when you talked to Hutch earlier this week, she said she really thought should be hosting their own regional at home in Harrisonburg.
Yeah. They definitely made a case for it.
Coming into this regional, I believe number 1 in the nation in winning percentage. They are in the top 2 or 3 in terms of batting average, slugging. They are number 6, I believe, in ERA. They're in the top 5 in win percentage. They have a lot of really good statistics on paper, but perhaps they suffer from the fact that they just don't play in a very difficult conference.
That's always an issue, even for a program that's built up a historical track record like James Madison has, as now we're getting an extended raking of the dirt. Both teams have gone into their dugout to take shelter as we get some work done on the dirt.
Our friends Austin Falco and Nick Hornberg getting drenched out in right field in the grandstands there. No umbrellas, no ponchos. But they didn't run for the hills.
Nope.
Standing in like good fans.
We're pulling up the weather radar right here.
Again, this should only last about 10 more minutes, this cell. and then we should be clear for now.
Right in the smack dab middle of a pretty healthy band of rain covering Washtenaw County, running from the northwest corner to the southeast corner.
Throw on that future tracker there, Drain.
A little bit south in Adrian. I'll see where it's drifting.
Yeah, you're looking at the past. If you hit the future button there, it'll give you
the future's always a little blurry.
Taking really good care of the infield here while they have the opportunity.
Yeah, it's blowing directly west to east across the land, and we've just been notified it will be a 10-minute delay exactly.
Yep, Michigan had a 25 or so minute delay in Bloomington last week during the championship game that they did just about the same thing. They took the time to clean up the infield, spread the dirt to try and get that sloppy wet muck off the top level of the infield. Again, the outfield is in perfectly fine shape.
Texas still up 1-0 on Sam Houston. Florida State still up 6-0 on Bethune. Southeast Missouri State and Louisiana 2-2. We can pull that game up.
If you have anything that you'd like to hear us talk about here during this short rain delay, feel free to throw it into the YouTube live chat or tweet at us at WCBN Sports. As that high school baseball game across the way is still going unimpeded. However, they have the artificial turf infield, so there's no concern about real dirt there.
I wonder if there's been a discussion about moving to artificial here at Alumni.
I had asked that in an interview with Hutch probably 2 or 3 years ago, and she was absolutely against it.
Yeah.
That came up at one of those random after-practice media availabilities a while back.
Oh, well, Louisiana has now just now taken 3-2 lead over Southeast Missouri State.
That was right after Michigan had played at, I can't remember where there was an infield with artificial turf, and Michigan was the unlucky recipient of several tough bounces off of that in that game and produced a few errors on the infield, as I recall. Trying to remember where that game was, but that's where the question arose from, and being a naturalist and sticking very truly to the game, Hutch was very much so in favor of maintaining the natural dirt infield here.
Once again, this 10-minute delay that we are in, not about an ability to play. It's certainly, they were fine playing in this weather. It's just the playing surface that is the issue right now.
It's already just about done here.
Yeah, you start to see some sun peeking out behind us.
Hats off to the grounds crew, making sure that we are in good shape to continue this one. Looks like we've got the Clarkston softball team, Clarkston High School, up in the right field grandstand there, dancing along with the alumni band. Not sure if there are still general availability tickets for tomorrow and Sunday. I don't believe there are, but they were on sale as late as 2 days ago. So if you're still thinking about making the trek out here to Alumni for any of the later regional games, take a peek at that.
You ready for this? This is the Texas Tech quarterback depth chart. Jeff Duffy, McLean Carter, Colt Garrett, Maverick McIver, and Mason McHorse.
I really like Maverick McIver.
That one is a good one.
Did you just see that on Twitter?
Yeah. McLean Carter actually has transferred to Rutgers, but he's still listed on the Texas Tech depth chart.
Those are some good names.
Well, Southeast Missouri State got out of the inning, but they'll need one run in the top of the 7th. To come back and extend that game. The Louisiana game taking place in the Oxford Regional, where Mississippi will play Chattanooga later tonight. Louisiana, one of those teams like James Madison that had a shot to get a regional host, but didn't end up getting one. But like James Madison, Louisiana has been in position to host at different points in the past and has gotten that nod. The Big Ten in particular was well respected by the selection committee this year, getting 3 regional host spots. First time since 2009 that had occurred. Back then, it was Northwestern Ohio State and Michigan that got the 3 spots.
Full sunshine now has peeked out through the clouds behind home plate. The rain has ceased.
Yeah, hope to see some fan file back in from the concourse as we are in the middle of the 5th inning. Michigan 4, St. Francis 0.
The Alumni Band is still in full action out there. No delay for them. And no delay here on your non-commercial radio, 88.3 WCBN FM Ann Arbor and the Michigan Student Softball Radio Network. Looks like the grounds crew is just about done.
Yeah, looks pretty good.
Yeah, the teams are up on the top steps of the dugout.
Well, if Michigan can notch 4 here in the bottom of the inning, the game will end right now, as we are now past that 5-inning territory, with the red flash having come up 5 times. Michigan scored all 4 runs in the bottom of the 3rd, 7 hits and 4 runs scored. No runs on 2 hits for the red flash.
We may have our old buddy Kevin Klein up here on the call on Sunday, potentially. Our East of the Rockies co-presenter. Back in town from the BTN headquarters in Chicago for a family wedding. That's kind of a general time frame. They said they plan to resume play in the next 5 to 15 minutes.
I'm not sure what the delay is right now.
Other than maybe TV.
Get the players out here and get going.
Yeah. Well, the players are all out.
Yeah.
They didn't really go anywhere. They're just chilling on the benches. As there's absolutely no rain now, and it is nice and sunshiny. The infield is fully taken care of. So we're just kind of twiddling our thumbs until they decide that they want to get back going again. At least this time it wasn't a one-way decision on the rain delay, as Minnesota pulled last week.
Did you see that new tournament that they're plugging for the preseason or for the non-conference? 16-team tournament down in Clearwater, the first or second weekend of the softball season.
That Michigan would be participating in?
We don't know. The teams have not been announced. There's 4 SEC teams that have been announced, but.
So you're saying the Tampa trip may be dead?
Well, it would be Clearwater, which is exactly the same.
Maybe dead in the water.
If you're the same airport.
Well, unless you're staying at the same Quality Inn on East Fowler Road and eating at the East Fowler Road Chili's, it's not exactly the same now, is it?
Yeah, we don't know who's going to be in it. They're trying to get a lot of big programs, and given Carol Hutchins' liking for a tough non-conference, wouldn't shock me. However, Florida is not in that tournament, which I think means they'll probably still be at USF. So,
well,
it all depends.
Despite the early troubles with the difficult non-conference schedule this year. I think it, in the end, clearly benefited Michigan in terms of their RPI, getting them into this game.
Yeah.
Into this home hosting situation as they checked in at 15. Said it several times since, but it was really that iron sharpens iron kind of mentality where you face the best and you really start to hone your skills against the best, then you start to emulate it eventually, and it's exactly what Michigan did. Taking some tough early losses, thinking back to some of those early games, Drain, like the 1-0 loss to Arizona.
Yeah.
Close loss to Florida. Tough games that just didn't go in the Wolverines' favor. 3-0 8-inning loss to James Madison, in which Michigan just couldn't get a hit to save their lives, and James Madison finally put a few across in the 8th, and that's really the only head-to-head comparison that we have in this regional.
And that was a long time ago. Both teams have changed a lot since then, so it'll be an interesting weekend. The players are now out of their dugouts and getting a little bit of warm-up time, as the umpires are also back out there getting ready to start once this little warm-up is over.
Yep. Still a pleasant afternoon to be hanging out here on the outdoor terrace. A big shout out to our contact here with Michigan softball, Leah Howard, who has been with us ever since I started doing this 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Helping us out and securing us our space here to bring you full coverage all year long from Alumni. And we appreciate all of you choosing to tune in with us here.
Well, the Michigan bats have been pretty solid today. 7 for 20, 350 average. Look to get more in the bottom half of the inning. We mentioned how good the bats have been in the last 40 games on the podcast. We have some more raw numbers here. In the past 32 games, the bats are 364 average, a 110-point improvement compared to the 254. But I like the 40-game sample more because the sample includes the UCLA game, the Washington game, the James Madison game. It includes a lot of tough teams in that sample, and to still post, I believe it was about a 340 average over that span. Impressive all the same as a team. And if those numbers were a full season sample, it'd be top 10.
Right.
Which we just, haven't really thought about this team as a great offensive team, but they've been good with power. They've been good with average.
Well, we knew that those numbers would perk up once they got to Big Ten play and started facing some of the weaker Big Ten competition. Hutch herself, again in the interview this week, admitted that the conference was extremely top-heavy.
But, even if it is top-heavy, Michigan did play Illinois. They played Ohio State. That's 3 RPI top 50. In addition to some of the other people they played in conference. So we are still waiting to get going. Subject about ready to dig in. It'll be 4-5-6. Alex has been the only hitter for Michigan to look really out of sorts so far. We'll see if she can figure it out against a new pitcher in Cristina Clarke, who she did not face her first 2 times up. Clarke came in the 4th and got a pretty easy inning with some help from her defense.
This has been your Michigan softball rain delay, sponsored by Chi-Chi's Salsa.
Subject swings and hits that one down the left field line, and it's going to be hauled in by Norton. She came out ready to swing and pushed it to the track, but not enough.
A hard line out to left to exit the rain delay here.
Well, that'll bring up Uden.
Our eternal sponsor here on the broadcast, Chi-Chi's, where dinner is as easy as uno, dos, tres.
Uden off-speed pitch bounces in. Fly out to right, and fly out to left, and a hit by pitch for Uden. This stat broadcast has been very slow to update today. And to look to the personal scorecard there. 1-0, she swings, lines that one to center. Caught again! Jordan Frank, are you kidding me?
I don't have anything there.
What a show being put on today.
My goodness. That is 2 surefire hits that she has robbed out in center. That one could have been extra bases.
Yeah, that was a double for Madison Uden. Taken away by incredible defense from Jordan Frank. That one even tougher because she was diving from an angle to cover the right center gap after Uden put a charge into that one. 2 outs now for Mackenzie Nemitz. Called strike. Nemitz doubled in the third and collected some RBIs on that one.
The 0-1 sails high up above the helmet there on Nemitz.
One the count. She swings and hits that one off the glove of the second baseman, McKee. It's been a tough day for her, and it's either an error or a single. They'll give Mackenzie a hit.
That's the third 2-out single of the game for the Wolverines. And again, just another tough play on the infield for St. Francis.
It does not appear that the NEC did an all-defensive team, because I was interested to see if this is some out-of-character performance by Jordan Frank, or if she...
Or very in character.
Yeah, has a knack for that. Hannah Carson to the plate now, 1 for 2 today with a single and reaching on an error. Runner on now, 2 outs in the inning.
Yep. When Katie Alexander exited the game, she had not bat.
Yeah.
So all of the at-bats in that spot in the lineup have gone to Hannah Carson.
1-0 inside.
Had that hard hit ball in her last at-bat in the third that wound up as an E4 but brought 2 runs home.
Yep, took a hard bounce off Cheyenne Mckee at second. Runner on first, 2 outs. We'll see what Carson can do here. 2-0 on its way. Off speed, called strike. I did learn in this package of information that as a team, the Red Flash posted a 3.54 GPA.
Impressive.
On its way. She swings, hits that one hard to right field. It is going to be trouble off the wall. Nemitz speeding to third. She's being waved around home. Throw to the plate, not in time. A double for Hannah Carson. And it's 5-0 Michigan.
Nemitz coming all the way around. That one got up off of the wall, and for how good Jordan Frank has been, might have misplayed that one in just a little too tight to the wall as it bounced back up underneath her and got behind. And I think that is what gave Nemitz enough time to round third and head for home on that one. But Hannah Carson continues to be very hot at the plate here, standing in for Katie Alexander.
Hoganrod stands in. Carson on second. Haley's 2 for 2 today. Chance to pick up an RBI here, and she fouls it back. It's the first run Michigan has gotten off of Cristina Clarke, and it could be quite a bit worse for Clarke without some various great defensive plays here in her second inning of work. 0-1 count on Hoganrod. The pitch. Strike on the outside edge. Quickly ahead, 0-2 is Tina Clarke.
Little 2-out offense.
Oh-2 on its way outside, 1-2. You know, it's never going to be easy in any sense to replace Katie Alexander next year, given what she has meant to this team, but I think today has been a good window into how Michigan will be just fine behind the plate next year with Hannah Carson. 1-2 down and outside.
A lot of capability at the plate. will continue to improve back behind the plate as you get more experience working with that Bobby and Storako battery.
2-2 count on Haley. Clarke's delivery, swung on and hit, just fouled down the third base side. Hutch was ready to wave Carson around third.
Close again down the line. There's been a few of those today.
By the way, Lou Allen has moved into the on-deck circle for Natalia Rodriguez, should Hoganrod reach. The windup and the 2-2 down in the plate. Good at-bat from Haley Hoganrod.
Working Clarke, who is now at 27 pitches. That was number 28, actually.
So the count is run full. The payoff pitch, got her on the outside edge. Check swing from Haley, didn't go, but up with the right arm anyway. Tyler Barfus. That'll end the inning, but Michigan tacks on another. They lead 5-0 as we head to the 6th over St. Francis in the first day of the 2019 NCAA Regionals.
And I've got that as the first backwards K for either side so far today. As Megan Beaubien has 6 strikeouts.
Be interesting to see if Beaubien does come back out here or if they let Storako get some work in.
And it is just the second strikeout for St. Francis. Bauer got 1, and that is the first for Clarke to end the inning.
Michigan 5 runs on 9 hits. No runs on 2 hits for St. Francis. Taylor Bump has come out of the dugout and looks like she will get ready to play first base for Alex Subject. Still no word on who the pitcher is going to be. It looks to be Alex Storako, though. I see number 8. Yep, here she comes. Alex Storako out of the dugout. She will get the last 2 innings, or 1 if Michigan can trigger a run rule in the bottom half. So Megan Beaubien's day is presumably done. 5 innings, 2 hits, 6 strikeouts, no runs, 57 total pitches. Beautiful day for her. And it's in line for the win.
Yep, and will be very fresh for tomorrow as well. As the Alumni Band plays the Blues Brothers. A good classic. I can never remember the actual name of the song. It's an obscure Blues Brothers number.
I believe it's called I Can't Turn You Loose.
Something like that. I thought I was going to say like Can't Let You Go or something.
Yeah, I believe it's I Can't Turn You Loose, if I remember correctly.
A staple nonetheless.
Yeah, in order to find that, I had to like Google Michigan Marching Band Blues Brothers and then find some obscure Michigan Daily article that loosely references the name. So Storako stands in the circle with a very tidy season numbers. An ERA of exactly 2 and a whip of 1.01. Almost very round numbers there for Storako, the freshman right-hander from Frankfort, Illinois. A change in height from Beaubien, standing at 5'11", very tall for softball player. Beaubien more of a normal-sized 5'8". Storako able to use that commanding mound presence and a very involved personality in the circle. Always excited and fired up in her pitching, and the first pitch is just outside. She'll get 9-1-2 here in the 6th. Taven Rousseau, Mackenzie Savin, and Cheyenne Mckee. One 0 on Rousseau, off speed, strike on the outside edge. 1-1 on its way to Rousseau. Swing and a miss. Climbing the ladder. Beaubien racking up the 6 strikeouts in the 5 innings. Sturocco much more of a strikeout pitcher in nature. 187 in 140 and a third this season. The wind up and the 1-2 swing, and just getting a piece there was Rousseau.
Yep, climbed that one up in the zone again, and Rousseau going underneath it and maybe just getting enough air to sort of support that one back to the backstop.
So we'll do the 1-2 again. The pitch, just on the inside, and now it's 2-2.
Yep, a close one there.
Yep, good pitch.
And I'm curious, this might be a question for between the week media day, but how often Sturocco and Carson kind of work together as a unit in practice.
2-2 floats high, and now the count runs full. Rousseau's worked a good at-bat.
You've got to think about, having that knowing relationship between pitcher and catcher where you can kind of tell where it's going to come and assist you with maybe framing something that's a little bit on an edge or how that would play out.
3-2 is off speed, and tapping it foul was Rousseau.
Sturocco with the maize bow on her ponytail there. Or bun. I'm not sure exactly what you'd call that.
Tough to tell from here. 3-2, swing and a miss. Climbing the ladder was Rousseau, and Alex has Michigan's 7th strikeout.
A combined effort in which Beaubien and Sturocco have one for you for each day of the week. 7 strikeouts.
So here's the leadoff hitter, Mackenzie Savin, with a pair of identical groundouts to third today. Now, an interesting fact about Mackenzie Savin, she has a 3.98 GPA, the best on the team, according to the media guide. There's a strike.
Wait, how do you get a 3.98? You're literally .02 from
she
a
has
4.0.
Through 2 years at St. Francis, she has all A's and one A minus.
A minus.
You want to guess what class?
I don't know.
Italian. 0-1 on its way to Sabin. She pops it up, arcing out of play.
Presumably no relation to Nick Saban.
Yeah.
Well, if she strikes out, I've got an Italian for you.
Mackenzie, a Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania native. Spells her name very odd. Mekenzie. 0-2, swinging another foul.
A very late swing, just getting a little bit of it.
Off speed. Inside, I guess?
I don't know. You could probably tell from the crowd noise that was a good pitch.
Yeah, it totally froze Mackenzie Savin. One-two, swing and another chop foul. And it lands off the fencing down that side out of the glove of Uden.
We've got another listener. We had one last week from, I think, Australia. We've got one from London this week. Shout out to Rachel. Over on the other side of the pond, I'm going to assume that is London, UK, not Ontario.
Well, could be either. 1-2, swinging a soft tapper into shallow left field. That'll drop for the 3rd hit of the game.
Shoot, I was very excited for her to produce an out so I could say arrivederci.
So a 1-out base runner, the 1st hit of the game off Sturocco, and the 3rd of the day for the Red Flash. Ooh, interesting development. Sam Houston up 2-1 on Texas in the top of the 7th.
Potential upset brewing there in the Austin bracket.
So the McKee sisters are now up. It'll be Cheyenne, who has a single and a strikeout swinging today, takes that one a high 1-0. This is presumably the last time that Michigan will go through the teeth of the order. 1-0 to McKee, off speed, strike on the outside edge. Cheyenne, 11 homers this year. .234 in particular, a lot of power in these red flash bats. 1-1 swing and a miss. That one was a home run swing,
yep,
but did not have the timing.
Has one of the 3 hits on the game, was the very first hit of the game back in the first for Cheyenne Mckee.
1-2, swinging a foul back. Cheyenne Mckee was the 2018 NEC Player of the Year and has a both NEC and St. Francis career record with 209 runs scored, which is 5th among all active players in the country. There's a lot of run scoring being done by McKee over her career. 1-2 on its way, fouled back. Good battle with Alex.
That one bounces up off of the softball center behind us here, back in the concourse area. Sun is still peeking out here a little bit. The lights are still on.
1-2, swinging another foul back.
Just doing what they can to work these counts a little bit deeper. They're doing a better job so far on Storako than they did on Beaubien to begin the outing.
Well, Beaubien was inducing a lot of contact. The balls were being put in play. That one floats high. Carson gets up to nab it. Mackenzie Savin at first, not much of a threat to steal. 3 on the year and has actually been caught thrice as well.
Always a good broadcast when you can use thrice. One thing I do miss about having Morris Fabry on these calls was his extensive vocabulary.
2-2, there's a swing and a looper down the line. It'll drop about a foot foul in front of Haley Hoganrod. Canfield was also tracking it backwards.
Looked like trouble, would have spelled trouble had that one gone a couple feet further into play.
Storako used a lot of pitches so far in this inning, and lengthy at-bats. The 2-2 coming, that one high, and McKee kind of bobbed her head out of the way. So the count runs full. The pitch, swing and a foul back. Storako locked in a battle with an excellent hitter. The 3-2, just low, I guess. Man, that was a good pitch. And Cheyenne Mckee is able to draw a walk now. 2 runners on for the red flash. That was a tight zone. And now the first time today that St. Francis has a couple of base runners on.
The first time today that either team has surrendered a walk.
Yep.
Jennifer Brundage out to have a word.
Reminder, earlier was mentioned that Taylor Bump is now playing first base for Michigan after Subject subbed out. This has happened a couple times in the last couple weeks. You have to wonder, with the extended cold streak she's been in at the plate, how the rotation at first will continue going down the stretch.
So far in the game, St. Francis has stranded all 3 of the base runners that they have put on heading into this inning. Michigan has been 5 for 12 with leaving runners on base.
There's the called strike to Sierra Mckee.
Storako had her troubles last weekend in Bloomington trying to settle it down here.
That one high. This is actually the third straight game that Michigan has played that Alex Storako has come in relief of Megan Beaubien. Once in a similar circumstance against Wisconsin, and then in a crucial circumstance against Minnesota. 1-1, swing and a miss by Sierra Mckee. The Wisconsin game did not end too well, and the hook was very quick, and back came Beaubien into the game.
Storako did not record an out, but did load the bases. Eventually, 2 of them scored on a Kayla Conwent double. They were credited to Storako.
1-2 on its way, swing and a foul back. But it was the same exact day, later in the afternoon, that they turned to Storako again in a huge moment, and she was able to find her stuff then. Now ahead 1-2 on Sierra Mckee here. The pitch, swing and a miss. 2 outs in the inning.
It has seemed throughout the game that when Michigan has been in need of a strikeout, going high up into the zone and above has really worked to their benefit.
But here's Haley Norton, who is the most dangerous hitter in this lineup, the .373 average and 16 home runs. Swing and a miss with the off speed there, the drop ball.
Down in the dirt.
Except it dropped before it even got to home plate. It was rolling in, and still swinging and missing was Norton. Norton is the all-time leader in St. Francis hits, homers, and RBIs, as well as the all-time leader in the conference in those marks. That one hit to Hoganrod in right, who hauls it in on a line, and Storako gets out of it. Norton's got so much power.
Was hit with some venom. It was destined for a double off of the wall, but tracking back over the shoulder to make the glove grab is Haley Hoganrod. Holy Hoganrod.
And so that ends the inning. St. Francis scoreless again. They get a hit and a walk, but we'll strand 2 as we head to the bottom of the 6th. Michigan 5-0 over St. Francis here in the Ann Arbor Regional.
Got the family sitting right in front of us. Good genes. It's true. All the athletic genes that exist in my family passed over my generation. That's why I'm up here.
Well, Tina Clarke will head back out there for the red flash, trying to keep Michigan off the board in another inning and give her hitters one last shot. If the Wolverines can scratch 3 across, it will end the game at the 5-0 lead. Winner of this game to play James Madison tomorrow at noon. Loser to play DePaul at around 2 p.m.
Softball coverage on WCBN Sports and the Michigan Student Softball Radio Network.
Well, we've seen some great plays in the outfield defensively for both teams. Jordan Frank with 2 great diving grabs for the red flash, and now Hoganrod with a nice sprawling snag at the wall. It'll be 9-1-2 for Michigan. In the bottom of this inning, we saw Lou Allen getting ready to potentially hit for Rodriguez in the bottom of the 5th, but she is not going to be pinch hitting here. It'll be back to Rodriguez, who's 0 for 2 today, but this will be the first time that she will be hitting from the lefty side. Texas still trailing Sam Houston 2-1 in the bottom of the 7th of that game. Got the video stream pulled up here to see if that ends up being a massive upset.
They are up to bat in the bottom of the 7th, are Texas.
Up, backs to the wall. There's a ground ball to short.
That's out number 1.
Out number 1 for Sam Houston.
Keep in mind they will have to win again, presumably again, to advance. That would be...
I mean, if nothing else, it gives Houston and Texas A&M, who are in this regional, a huge leg up.
Yes.
There's a ball low to Rodriguez, 1-0.
Who won that first game? A&M?
I can look in a second. Rodriguez stands in there with a fly out to left, more of a line drive to left rather, and then a ground out to short in the second and the third innings, coming up now here in the bottom of the 6th.
3 more runs and Michigan wouldn't have to play the top of the...
And she lays that bunt down, but it just goes foul. That was a good one.
Bounced in front of the batter's box, but just had that backspin on it that tailed it back out into foul territory. Looks like out number 2 there for Sam Houston.
Yep, pop out to short, so now 1 out away. 2-1 to Nat Rod. She swings and chops that one to first. Instead, it's going to be gloved by the second baseman. The underhand flip for the out. 0 for 3 today.
Yeah, Bizak thought about it there, but it was going to be a tough play if she were to glove it and then try and make the unassisted out over at first. So tracking over from second was McKee to make the quick toss.
Pitch off speed. He's a little high to Canfield. 1 out in the inning. One-0. High.
Canfield had that double that started the third inning in which Michigan batted all the way around the lineup, sent 9 to the plate, put up 4 runs, 2 of which were unearned runs.
2-0 on Canfield as we had a quick talk in the circle. Taven Rousseau going out there to say something to Tina Clarke. Canfield hits that one high and deep to left. Backtrack wall. Goodbye. Faith with a solo shot to left. And it's 6-0 Michigan.
Got every bit of that. There have been a few in this game that have been hit really hard and have gone out to the wall, but this one cleared the wall by a good 10 feet.
And now that's her 9th home run of the season, a career high.
And Michigan now leads 6-0 here in the bottom of the 6th.
Yeah, the bats took a little bit to get woken up, but they've been rolling these last few innings.
As Peters is due back up here.
That one high. And that's it. Sam Houston State has defeated Texas 2-1 on a foul pop-out as Peters fouls it back 1-1.
First major upset of the day.
That's only the second win in history for Sam Houston State in the NCAA tournament.
No upset here, though, with the Wolverines up 6.
And Peters clubs it to right, a base hit. And Michigan will bring the winning run to the plate in the form of Lexi Blair.
The run-ruling run.
Yeah, the clinching run, rather.
Lexi has poked a couple over the fence this year, 6 to be exact, including the walk-off game-winning solo shot in the 8th inning against Illinois in the first game of the tournament last week. And now there will be a conversation out in the circle.
Quick update. Houston defeated Texas A&M in that game. So
Houston and Sam Houston beating Texas and Texas A&M in that all-Texas regional.
Down in Austin. Texas has had an interesting year because they got Mike White, I believe was his name, from Oregon as their new head coach. Got a lot of players from Oregon to transfer down there.
Yep.
Had a great season getting back into the NCAA tournament. Number 9 seed in the country, but a stunning loss in their first game at home.
Sam Houston winning with 2 runs on 3 hits. Texas only musters 1 on 4.
Yeah, it was a 2-run homer for Sam Houston. Alabama up 3-1 over Alabama State. Tulsa and BYU in the losers game, or rather not the losers, the last chance game. It's the 3rd game of the tournament for each of those 2 teams. Blair's first pitch is down and outside.
Has a chance to walk it off with the run rule here.
Yeah. When I talked to her about her walk-off homer against Illinois, she said she was swinging for the fences on that. She wanted the game to end. She was tired of how long that game was going. Maybe the same sentiment here. Pitch low, 2-0.
First time all afternoon we've gotten some really hefty Let's Go Blue chants around the stadium.
2-0 on the way to Lexi. Just a little low. She's 1 for 3 today with a single, ground out to second, and a fly out to center. The pitch, strike, 3-1. And by the way, that's Stillwater Regional. Arkansas losing to BYU again. They are the first team officially eliminated from this season's tournament.
No Woo Pig Suey moving on.
3-1, Lexi lines it off the glove of the first baseman. That's past the bag, and now Peters and Blair scampering. It'll be a double for Lexi, and Peters into third. They were running in tandem there.
Yeah, we'll see how they score that. That is probably a play that should be made.
That's a double. That ball's hit so hard.
I don't know. It got enough of the glove where we'll see how they score it. If it's Michigan scoring, it's probably a double.
Well, I actually talked to Leah during the week about who scores it. We've had the same scorer for about the past, I think she said, about 12 years. She called him one of the best in the game and a man of integrity. She said
that is a double.
She said that at times, however, the Michigan pitching staff has been a little angry about some things that were not errors here and there. Always bloating the ERA, but for the most part, his rulings go unchallenged. There's a pitch inside to Bump.
So now runners on second and third as Blair was tailing Peters the whole way on the base paths.
And a single from Taylor Bump could
also end
the game.
Yep.
1-0 to Bump is a good one off speed. Floats in there for a strike, 1-1.
Yeah, it's a great change up there.
Taylor Bump, 207 average this year, 303 on base, but her numbers were better in conference play. One outside, and Bump will certainly be a potential person to try and seize a spot in the lineup next year with Subject departing.
This is just Bump's 30th at-bat of the season. Has 6 hits, 2 RBIs. Has struck out 10 times, though.
Yep, that's always been the issue for her. Pitch low, 3-1. She's got a lot of great power. It's just she's not been able to make enough contact at this point in her career to unlock that power, because she is built like the perfect first baseman. Tall, long, can extend, and a lot of power in that frame at 5'10". 3-1, strike 3-2.
Has struck out 10 times, has walked 4 times. So has still gotten on base about 1/3 of the time. Her OBP is 303.
Yeah. Full count pitch on the way from Clarke. In the dirt, and Taylor draws a walk. So the bases are loaded with 1 out for Uden, who was robbed of extra bases last time up by the diving Jordan Frank. Michigan 12 hits now and drawing their first walk of the game. 6-0 lead. A Uden single could end it here. Oh, that hit Maddie. That is her second hit by pitch of the game.
Well, it'll give her an RBI.
Yeah. And the same spot too, the elbow. That was the exact same spot she was hit earlier. And now Michigan 1 run away from ending this one. And the hit by pitch counts in your on base percentage.
As it should.
So bases loaded, 1 out. Michigan 1 run away from ending this game in run rule fashion, and Nemitz is 2 for 3 today. Fly out to center and then a double and a single. She swings and misses on that first pitch.
Yeah, took a healthy cut there. A deep enough fly ball would be good enough to score the speedy Lexi Blair on a tag up probably.
Oh, 1 outside. Uden at first, bump at second, Blair at third. One Nemitz hits it to first, but it just foul. That would have ended the game if it were a fair ball. Yeah.
It would have been the unassisted tap out at first from Bizak, and then there wouldn't have been a play anywhere else, so the run would have scored on the fielder's choice. Instead, we go to 1-2, and a strikeout here for Clarke would be huge in terms of trying to keep St. Francis alive to see the 7th.
1-2, and Nemitz hits it high in the air, foul. That's one of those where, again, you sort of don't want your fielders to catch it if it were in play. It's a potential play at the plate with their back to it.
Everyone so far in the inning, with the exception of Rodriguez, who led off, has gotten on base.
Yep.
Technically, Canfield touched all the bases, didn't stay on one.
1-2, and Nemitz hits it high and deep to center. Frank catches it. Blair coming home. Throw to the plate, not in time. Lexi touches it standing up, and that'll do it. Nemitz gets it done, and Michigan wins 8-0 in a 6-inning run rule victory over St. Francis.
I think that's Mackenzie Nemitz's first career walk-off.
No, it isn't. She had the double to the gap against Indiana.
Ah, that's true. Good point. Crossed that second career walk-off.
Yeah.
And Michigan will advance to play James Madison tomorrow at noon, while St. Francis will fall to see DePaul after that game.
Yeah, that game tomorrow will be at 12 p.m. against James Madison, a showdown and a rematch with the Dukes.
And we will be right back here with that game on WCBN Sports. Again, Alex Drain and Jeremy Parks. Michigan 8, St. Francis 0, as it is a combined 3-hit effort by Bobian and Starocco here in this one that ends an inning early.
Yeah, this is a really solid win for Michigan. They did everything they needed to do. It was expected to be a run rule, and it was. They got the the needed hits, 8 runs on 12 hits, drew some walks, took some hit by pitchers. Beaubien dominant in her innings, and then Storako a little shaky at first, but got through it unscathed. And they get the big matchup they wanted against James Madison tomorrow. Megan Beaubien picks up the win to 29-4 on the season. Michaela Bauer drops to 9-12.
Beaubien 5 innings full, 2 hits, no runs. Storako 1 inning full, 1 hit, no runs. A combined 8 strikeouts, 6 to Beaubien, 2 to Storako. And it will be the matchup that we have been anticipating for this regional tomorrow at noon against the James Madison Dukes. That's about all I've got for you so far tonight, Drain.
Yeah, that's about it for us. Just looking at what the final attendance was today, because it was a full capacity. Time of the game, about 2 hours, 24 minutes with a 10-minute delay thrown in.
2,490 your total attendance for today.
Yeah, really good crowd. We expect to see it again tomorrow.
Yep, it will be the same size for tomorrow's game.
Well, with that concludes our coverage of Michigan's first game in the Ann Arbor Regional tonight. Final score, Michigan 8, St. Francis nothing. And we'll leave you with a good night and go blue.